Hi! Today we will be discussing the impact of teen mental health representation in entertainment. My name is Chloe Miller, and this is a presentation for Human Growth Section 620C for Naropa University in the Master's Study of Mindfulness-based Transpersonal Counseling. The teenage years are some of the most confusing years of development. There are so many new discoveries happening every day, and you are constantly challenged to grow and learn new things. But what if some of these challenges are out of your control? And because of that, they in fact make your day-to-day life more difficult. The teen developmental stage is when mental illnesses start to show. They start to appear as early as 14 years old in nearly half of all mental illness cases, and 3/4 of all mental illness cases are diagnosed by the mid-20s. Parents and caregivers of teenagers and people close to teens should be looking for signs of mental health issues at this stage of development, when preventative interventions can really make a difference. But why? It's because of Erik Erikson's developmental theory, specifically stage 5, identity versus role confusion, where he discusses 6 major issues that teens are dealing with at this point in their life. To truly understand the entertainment's impact of mental health representation for teenagers, let's look at our framework. At this point in a teenager's life, they are between the ages of 12 and 18 years old and focusing on self-exploration. They're pulling away from their family and turning to external sources for influence to round out their traditional education. Their brains are just starting to develop the last part of the brain, which happens to be the prefrontal cortex. But this is the most important part of the brain, as this is where humans learn to think critically. Obviously, it's an essential skill for thinking about long-term consequences and navigating right and wrong decisions. But this is why teens are considered impulsive. They act before they think, because their prefrontal cortex is still developing. Teens also suffer from the fear of missing out, which motivates them to do whatever it takes to fit in, illuminating that their dual awareness is developing. They're developing self-awareness and self-consciousness simultaneously, which starts to send you into a bit of a tizzy. Ultimately, this stage can be summed up by asking the existential question of, who am I? Now, to provide some context, here are the 3 TV shows' impacts that we will be critiquing. 13 Reasons Why is produced and presented by Netflix, which discusses mental health issues such as anxiety, depression, and suicide. HBO released their version of a high school drama called Euphoria, covering mental health issues such as attention deficit disorder, bipolar disorder, and obsessive compulsive disorder. And Netflix also produced The Politician, which similarly to 13 Reasons Why, covers anxiety, depression, and suicide. Now, showing teens dealing with mental health issues in mainstream entertainment is not a new portrayal. However, these 3 shows accurately depict, to the best of their own ability, the struggles of mental illnesses in modern society. Some psychologists consider this beneficial, while others see the dangers that this presents. The dialogue has centered around this main issue. Is showing teens in crisis important for representation and de-stigmatization? Or are these graphic portrayals irresponsibly triggering viewers and leveraging mental illness for shock value? Supporters of this theory believe that teenagers are relating to the characters that they are seeing on TV and finding solace and support through media representation. Furthermore, Rue's character, played by Zendaya on HBO's Euphoria, is an exemplary character struggling with mental health issues. It's because she's not pathologized, nor is she villainized, that her character is recognized as having propelled normalization of mental health illnesses in high school, particularly supporting Generation Z teens. Additionally, these shows are spreading awareness of mental health issues and bringing attention to mental health resources specifically designed to help teens. Now, there is also some criticism. First of all, these shows do not showcase that troubled individuals seeking therapeutic help. This is concerning as it reinforces the idea that the problem is real, but there's no solution to the problem, when in fact, that's not the case at all. Also, this furthers the notion that suicide is the only answer for relief for those struggling with mental illness. The media follows strict guidelines to not encourage copycat suicides, and 13 Reasons Why violated all of the guidelines presented by reportingонsuicide.org by showcasing the character's gruesome suicide scene. Furthermore, this has led to showrunners and creators consulting with mental health experts as they ensure they are not causing more harm by trying to represent mental health issues. And the president and CEO of Mental Health America, in fact, consulted on the Netflix show The Politician, as they also covered the sticky situation of teenage suicide. This controversial topic is still fairly new, and thus there's not much research to reflect the impact of these shows. However, there has been research and reports stating that suicide is the second leading cause of death for teenagers, which just so happens to be the main demographic for these shows. And on top of that, a study from the Journal of the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry reported that there was an increase in suicide among boys between the ages of 10 and 17 the month after 13 Reasons Why launched back in March of 2017. By July of that year, and after much criticism, Netflix finally removed the suicide scene. So, in the short time since the first season of these shows, dating back to 2017, there are reports of increased self-harm and suicides as an attempt to replicate the show's fandom and character legacy. Knowing this is troubling, and especially when taking into consideration just how impressionable these shows' target demographics are. So there's a handful of strategies you can employ in a therapeutic setting and in normal life. For example, we need to encourage the normalization of therapeutic help for teenagers, and that includes introducing them to the idea at a young age and supporting their desires to go to therapy as they grow. Also, educating teens on safe social media engagement and entertainment consumption is essential. We have more content now than ever to consume. Teaching teens to balance entertainment and practice safe social media engagement will help them navigate these years. Finally, resilience skills are essential and extremely powerful if learned at this stage of development. Teens are empowered with healthy coping mechanisms to help manage their daily struggle. Included here is a list of mental health resources dedicated to helping teens through this stage of their life. It's a strange, awkward phase, and yet we all experience our own version of the same struggles. If we can support our teens through these challenges by empowering them with resources for mental health issues and educating them with healthy coping mechanisms, we can hope that our assistance can prevent mental health crises later on in life. Thank you for your attention during this presentation. I look forward to answering your questions and discussing this material further.